In terms of our season this past year, I got a little bit spoiled going to Final Four every year, 3 years in a row. It was nice, as I think many of our fans have echoed with me as well. And so this year, to have a team that finished one game out of first place in the league, and that's always our first objective. Our first objective is to be Pac-10 champion. Because if you're Pac-10 champions, you're going to get a good seed in the NCAA tournament. And that's what we're looking for. And you looked at this year, finishing one game out, they ended up sending us the furthest of any team in the NCAA tournament across the other side of the country to play in Philadelphia on Villanova's home court. And that was a tough break. So, I still want you to know that I was very, very proud of this year's team. I mean, I really believe in what Coach Wooden taught, which is that you want to be the very best team that you can possibly be. And you want to give the very best effort you can possibly give each and every day, every week, every month, every year, and everything that you do as a coach, as a player. And I was really proud of our guys, especially our three seniors. When you look back and I look back now and think about Alfred Aboya and everything he gave to this program during his 4 years to graduate from college in 3 years. And I remember going to bat for him in terms of his admissions. I was meeting a little resistance because they didn't really know me that well yet. On the admission side of things, and I would say, hey, I guarantee you this kid's going to be a great student. I mean, I know this kid. And not only did he graduate in 3 years, but he's in a master's degree program this year and such a fine representative of the university off the floor. Nobody, I've done this 28 years now, I've been a Division I head coach. No one I have ever been around worked harder, brought it every day to practice as hard as he could go every single day of every possession, and also came every day with such a joy for life and for playing. He was the best. I mean, you just can't even imagine what a joy it was to coach Alfred. And there's been more talented players, no question, but I mean, there's never been a player that I'm aware of who works harder, has a better attitude than Alfred, and so I will always appreciate his 4 years, and it was especially nice this year. I give him a hand. It was really touching for me when I was, senior day this year playing against Oregon and watching Alfred walk out with his mother and father who had never seen him play basketball until 2 days before that against Oregon State. And it was just really a joy, and I'm so proud of him and happy for him. And then our second senior, Darren Collison, everything that he's done and accomplished as a Bruin. You look at all his stats, he's in the top 5 in assists and steals and three-point percentage. But the thing that I appreciate, among others, that will always stick with me is that Darren had a chance to leave at the end of his sophomore year. Darren had a chance to leave at the end of his junior year, and he wanted to stay. He loved being a Bruin. He loved being at UCLA. Unbelievably loyal kid. He was the same way at his high school at Etiwanda. And, I always appreciate it. Darren is graduating, as did Alfred. He graduates this quarter. He's finishing one class, and he graduates in 4 years. He helped lead us to 3 Final Fours and did so much as a player. But, in this day and age where we're losing kids right and left after 1 or 2 years, it's nice to see a guy, and his parents supported it. His mom and dad. How many of you ever met June or Dennis? Raise your hand. Because they are unbelievable parents and people, and I was really, really fortunate to have them in our program. And then our third and final senior, Josh Shipp, everything that he went through. Give Josh a hand. Josh had an unbelievable year for his senior year after everything he's been through with 2 hip surgeries. Some of you, are probably familiar with a hip surgery. It's a very common thing. Now, he had a torn labrum. Just so you guys know, my boss, Jerry Pym, who I work for, I mentioned, the guy behind me mentioned here that I worked for Jerry for 11 years at Santa Barbara. He's had 3 hip surgeries on one side and 2 on the other. and just had another thing changed in his hips last week down at St. John's. So it's a very common thing. But a labral tear for an athlete who's getting up and down the floor, that's no joke. And he went through 2 of them, 1 on each side, and had to come back from 7 to 8 months of rehab for each time, and really, really gave his all. Josh, one of my great memories of Josh will obviously be the shot that he hit against Cal a year ago from the side of the backboard. Yeah. I still believe that was a legal shot. But when you think about those 3 kids, I'm going to think about the fact that they won 123 games in their 4 years. They went to 3 Final Fours, 3 Pac-10 championships. But it's really this next year now losing them with the fact that we lost Kevin, Russell, and Luke the year before, along with Lorenzo. We've lost a lot over the last couple of years, so it's really a rebuilding, reloading era right now, and we're going to be very, very young. We do have 3 seniors, and I actually worked them all out today at Poly, in James Keefe, Mike Roll, and Nikola Dragovich, and all 3 of those guys are going to be very important for the success of this upcoming team. Starting with Mike. Mike's going to be a 5th-year player because of the injury he sustained a year ago. And that really hurt us in that Final Four in Kevin's lone year, and when Russell really turned it out from going from a guy who played 8 minutes a game as a freshman to being the 4th pick in the draft. I mean, I certainly didn't see that coming, and I'm so happy for him. He, by the way, Russell Westbrook, give you an idea of the kind of kid he is. He is signed up for summer school. He's coming back to work on his UCLA degree this summer, which deserves a lot of credit. Russell's making about $4 million a year right now, and he doesn't have to do that. He wants to do that, and his future is unbelievably bright. As you may have known, Kevin and he were both all-rookie team this year in the NBA. But getting back to our 3 seniors, Mike Roll had shot 52% from the season this year, really has worked hard. He's in great shape right now. He looked really good today, and I expect he's going to have a very, very good senior year, and very smart, intelligent kid. He's doing great in school. So I'm excited about Mike and his senior year. James Keefe, I thought that he had an up and down season this year, and I really expect, and I'm kind of seeing it right now, the light to go on. Sometimes when you get a senior, when they know, oh, this is it kind of happened to like Ryan Hollins. Ryan Hollins really had an up and down career, and then fortunately for us, the last 12 games of his senior year were unbelievable. But sometimes the light goes on for a senior, and I really believe that's going to happen for James. He's really looking good in his workouts right now, and he's a great kid, and I'm especially proud of him because he's dating one of those dance team girls who's just an absolute knockout. James has had a great experience at UCLA. Yeah. He has, and he is going to be very successful when he's done. But we're excited about big things out of James next year. And then obviously Nikola Dragovich had a very, very good year for us this year. When you look at him and give him a hand, he deserves it. Nikola, he showed up a year ago coming back from Serbia. And he had double hernia surgery, and we didn't know anything about it. It's just like he got that done back home without any consultation from our doctors, and it really put him behind as a sophomore, and he got overweight and never really made it back for the year. This last summer, he stayed here. He didn't go home, and he really worked hard and got in great condition and had an unbelievable year. Starting the first time that I started him was against USC at USC. And he really showed up and had a big game there. We won that game, and they really stepped it up from that point forward and made us a better team with his ability to shoot and pass and stretch the floor. So I'm really excited about Nikola, and he's working really hard right now. And all 3 of those kids are obviously, Mike's actually about a class or 2 away from graduation. He's not going to graduate. He's going to go back and get a double major. But again, all 3 of them will graduate. And so I really appreciate, what you said today about the character of our kids and how important, because it really is important to me. I want you to know that I understand that our players represent the greatest university in the country, and the character and the way they represent off the floor is just as important as the way they represent us on the floor. And, we've had very, very good, fortunate luck with having such wonderful young men in our program, and we really try to recruit that. I'm big into character. I think that you're always going to have adversity in life. You're going to have adversity during a season, whether it's a tough loss or whatever it is. And so I really believe that character wins out in those situations. We have the sophomore class coming up that were freshmen this year that will be a big part of the kind of success we have this coming season. And the first guy is Drew Holiday. Drew started every game for us, and people ask me, what's going to happen? What's Drew going to do? I don't know. I met with Drew yesterday, and Drew's got a great decision to make, because he's either going to be in the NBA or he's going to come back and play at UCLA. And he'll be one of the best players in the country if he comes back. And it will all be based on the feedback that he and his family get from the NBA teams as to where he'll go. I mean, I think if he was told he was going to be a top 20 pick, he would stay in the draft. And I would recommend that. I think it's hard to tell a kid to not stay in if they're a top 20 pick. But that remains to be seen. And so I'm like the rest of you. I don't know any more than you do, and it's really tough. Every night I try to go to sleep not knowing. And it's been like that every year the last 4 years. You go back and you think about Trevor, Aaron, Jordan, the three, Kevin, Russell, Luke, and now potentially him. That's 7 guys early. That's a lot. And someone asked me tonight, what about a rule change? What's going to happen in the NC2A? And there's really a groundswell, I think, listed in the league coaching meeting we had this last week, that we should have a push to let them go out of high school, but if they come to college, they should stay at least 2 years. Yeah. The NBA decides the rules. It's up to David Stern and the Players Association, but that's what we have to lobby. Now, football has it best. I mean, the NFL and college football, they work great together. You have to go for 3 years. There are no if or buts. In baseball, it's similar to what I'm suggesting, and I would rather have the baseball rule. I just don't think that they would ever sign off on it. Baseball, you go out of high school to the pros, and if you don't sign a contract and you go to college, you got to stay for 3 years. And I just think that would be better for everybody concerned, and hopefully there'll be some movement in that direction. It's tough. In terms of our other sophomores returning, Drew Gordon's coming back, and Drew played behind Alfred the most minutes and played about 12 minutes a game, and really showed some signs that he has a chance to be very good. He's really improving his perimeter skills, his ability to shoot. He shot it very good today. And so he's just going to be a sophomore, and I'm excited for Drew. I think Drew has a chance to be a very good player for us, especially a rebounder that we so sorely need. I mean, we need to out-rebound our opponent. That's what really was one of the keys, along with defense, the previous 3 years, and I think he can be a guy that can be close to double figures in reboundings if he gets the proper amount of minutes and can stay out of foul trouble, which is tough. Then we also have Jamison Morgan, a.k.a. Bobo, who had knee surgery, and I saw him today, and he saw the doctor, and they're going to start to do a little bit of light running tomorrow. He's been running in the pool where there's non-weight bearing, and he had a tough year. I mean, it's tough when you're a high school kid and you're being recruited by everybody, and everybody's telling you how great they are, and all of a sudden now you got to come to college, and there's Alfred beating you up every day. And Alfred, by the way, did make it very hard for those 2 freshman big guys every day, because he just plays so hard and is relentless. But I think it's going to really help them. And big guys develop later. Big guys is flat out develop later than guards. They're still growing. Big guys need more sleep. We're recruiting they do. That's when they really do. We're recruiting a kid who I can't name because of the rules, but every day he's 6'9", 300 pounds, 6'10", 300. Every day he comes home from school and takes a nap. That's what his mom told me. And they do. But I think Bobo has a chance. He has good hands. He has, good feet. It's just going to be a matter of him getting in great physical condition. I think he can really help us next year. Jeremy Anderson is going to be a very good player. He didn't get to play a lot because of Darren's minutes, but Darren deserved those minutes. But Jeremy's going to be a very, very good player. Very heady, very intelligent, very smart. And as a player, it's hard to get a feel for it if you're not out there and getting, consistent good minutes. But I'm excited about him. And then Malcolm Lee is going to be one of the best defensive players that we've had since I've been here. And that, Luke, Aaron, and Russell are probably the other three. This kid is as athletic as anybody we've had, including Russell. He had a great workout today. He's been one of the really good surprises just watching how good he is this spring. And he is going to be a very, very good player. We have 5 new freshmen coming in next year, and we went out and tried to get some size because we're losing guys, and we have a lot of length coming in. Guys, you hear the term in basketball, long. We have a lot of guys that are long. We have Tyler Honeycutt from Sylmar, who's 6'7.5", about 180 pounds. So he's going to get in the weight room, but he's going to be a good player. He is a very, very good player. He played very well. They had an all-star game this last weekend out on Ontario, and he was the best player in the game, and he actually fell and got hurt, so he couldn't finish the game. But he's going to be very, very good. He's one of the top players in California and in the country. Another local product is a kid named Anthony Stover, who's about 6'9.5", and the thing I like about Anthony is his wingspan is 7'6". He's going to be a kid that's going to take some time to develop. He's a big kid, but anytime you have 7'6" wingspan and you're 6'9", obviously you have long arms. He's going to be able to block some shots, and we've got to get him in the weight room. We've got to develop him, and he's a great kid. We have 2 kids from the Valley, Central Valley. One is a young man, Brendan Lane, who's out of Rockland High School in Sacramento. Really, really athletic kid for a big kid. He's about 6'9.5". He played water polo. I mean, he's played multiple sports. He's high jumping right now. He's high jump 6'6" for the track team. And he's a 4.2 student. And all his classes are AP classes, so he's a brilliant student. He's going to be a good player. And then Reeves Nelson, who's from Modesto, he's going to be ready to play some next year. He's 6'7", 235. And really has a good body. He was the MVP of that game that was held out on Ontario and really looked good from the people that I spoke with. And then our last freshman coming in is a young man from Oregon, Mr. Mosier, Mike Mosier, and he's long and athletic. He's about 6'6", and he has a 7-foot wingspan. So he's got long arms. And that helps. It's like Malcolm Lee is 6'5", and Malcolm has a 6'10" wingspan. And it has very good quickness. So I'm excited. We have, if Drew comes back, that'll be 13 players. We're allowed to have 13 players on scholarship. If Drew decides to leave, then we'll have 12. And that's going to come down here, we'll know sometime. They have to decide by June 15th. So next year, the rule changes. Next year, a player now has to decide a year from now by May 8th. So it's really going to change, I think, things. I'm not really excited about that because we can't replace Drew Holiday in May. The best players in the country signed letters of intent in November. So it's just I think what it is, though, and I could feel it in this room when I mentioned about the new rule potentially that I'd like to see, is it's the NC2A saying, we got to try to have some influence control over what's going on. And that's really what's happening with the May 8th deadline a year from now. But I am very, very optimistic about our future. I'm very, very excited about next year's team. We're going to be young. It's going to be really fun to have a young group that's going to grow and develop, and our schedule is going to be murder. And that's true. We play Kansas at home. We have Notre Dame there. We're in a tournament down in Anaheim for ESPN where we play on Thanksgiving, but it has 5 other schools that just have out everybody back in their program: West Virginia, Butler, Minnesota, Texas A&M, and Clemson, along with ourselves, Long Beach State, and Portland. So it's going to be a lot of competition early.